right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Broken promise. Community groups now cut off from county funding. The impact it could have on people suffering from abuse. A felony charge reduced to a misdemeanor. Tonight, reaction from the mother of a woman killed in a car crash by a former Jefferson County deputy. It's a story you'll see only on 5 on Your Side.
Temperatures in the mid-30s as we had snow last night, but we're already tracking that temperature as we get close to Tuesday. Where does that rain-snow line set up and what we're in store for over the next few days in terms of winter weather?
We want to thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Brent Solomon. The snow you woke up to today has melted away, but get ready for another round of winter weather. Weather First meteorologist Gary Fring joins us now with what's headed our way next week. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, good evening, Brent. Nice low-impact snow that we had last night. It covered the trees, pictures. It was our first little taste in preparation for what we would expect in January, right? And you look even in Highland and even at this hour, there's still some snow as many of us got between 1 to 3 inches of snow, mostly in the grass, but on some of the side streets as well. And most of that bigger system has exited. We do still have some light areas of drizzle or a few flurries around. And in general, they're not impacting us very much as temperatures have remained above freezing. You can't even see them on this. For the most part, you can see that move from Hermon into Washington, and you're likely seeing a few snowflakes here in Washington, about ready to cross the river into Augusta and eventually Wildwood, and also many areas close to Pacific. Otherwise, temps right now at 37. We have a west breeze at 9 miles an hour. We're above freezing. There are a few flakes outside, and the next 24 hours we'll see some snow showers and drizzle here and there with fog developing, but mostly dry Sunday. But it's ahead, and that's why we're looking at, as tonight, a few pops of snow or rain shower here and there. But I think overall we're going to look off to our northwest. That's where the winter storm watch is in place. What that means for them as it relates to us, and we'll time out our multiple winter systems the next 7 to 10 days.
We'll see you in just a bit. Stay on top of your winter weather. You can get the Weather First forecast anytime. Text the word weather to 314-425-5355. We'll send it to your phone. Now to a 5 on Your Side exclusive. The mother of a woman killed in a deadly crash now speaking out. It comes after her son-in-law, a former Jefferson County deputy, is now seeing his felony charge reduced. Our Annie Krall joins us in studio now. And Annie, you just finished speaking with that mother.
Exactly, Brent. Well, those felony charges have been downgraded to a misdemeanor for former Jefferson County Deputy Colby McCreary. His wife, Savannah McCreary, died in that crash. Just hours ago, I spoke with her mother about her daily struggle and wanting justice for her daughter's death.
It's been a nightmare.
Colby McCreary was driving on April 30th when he hit a small rock bluff off of I-55. The car overturned. Both Colby and his wife, Savannah McCreary, were ejected, then transported to Mercy South in South St. Louis County. Savannah died the next day. The Highway Patrol investigation found Colby McCreary had a blood alcohol content of 0.17 when his blood was drawn while being treated at the hospital.
The McCrearys have had absolutely zero contact with me from the get-go. They've never called the night of the accident. My daughter and I found out on Facebook, and we called over 11 hospitals before we found out which one she was in.
Originally facing charges of DWI resulting in death and involuntary manslaughter, on Friday, prosecutors said they can't charge him because they can't prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. The Jefferson County Prosecuting Attorney's Office saying in a statement, Colby and Savannah weren't wearing seatbelts. Traveling at 86 miles per hour prior to the crash, 1.8 seconds before impact, prosecutors say, quote, the wheel was abruptly turned in a clockwise direction, causing the vehicle to veer to the right. It's still unclear as to why. Festus officers on the scene said McCreary showed no signs of impairment.
Initially, they're trying to see whether they smell alcohol. You're on the side of the road. You've got tractor trailers, things going by. I mean, it's hard to really kind of gauge that. There wasn't the typical circumstance where you had, open liquor containers and liquor bottles and beer cans, things like that in the vehicle.
Savannah left behind 2 children.
It's destroyed me. It's destroyed my family. I worry about my 2 grandkids growing up without a mother. That's got to be difficult. And I'd like Colby to have to face me at some point and at least tell me he's sorry, something. I am her mother. She didn't just appear on this earth and become yours. He was ours for a long time.
Now, Krista said she is planning on being at McCreary's preliminary hearing with the reduced charges. That's scheduled for Thursday afternoon in Jefferson County. Brent?
Annie, thanks. Right now, police are looking for whoever shot and killed a man in North County. It happened around 4:30 this morning. Police found that man's body in a field that was by Apricot and Emma Avenues in Jennings, near the Memorial Park Cemetery. We don't know the name of the victim or why he was shot, but if you know anything, contact St. Louis County Police or Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. Today, the family of a woman killed in North St. Louis last week remembered in a balloon release. Someone shot and killed 20-year-old Kyshayla Wellington leaving her car. It happened in the early morning hours, 4 days after Christmas. Relatives say she was heading home from work and died about 1.5 miles away from her home. They say she had a big heart and was always willing to help others.
It's been extremely hard for the family. This is so unexpected for us. This is not something that we was expecting. Kyshayla was a wonderful person. I mean, she was 20 years old, but she was way beyond her years. She wore her heart on her sleeve, and she loved everybody she came in contact with, and everybody loved her back.
Police have not arrested Wellington's killer. Detectives are still working leads. Budget cuts in St. Louis County leaving some organizations without money. One of them is Journey Against Domestic and Sexual Abuse. Leaders say county leaders promised them $25,000. That was back in September, and then walked back that deal within the past few weeks. Travis Cummings has this story.
So it was really a surprise and disappointing.
This is the season where her services are needed the most.
Right now it's cold. We was trying to struggle to get 2 women into housing yesterday, and we know the temperatures dropped last night.
Cynthia Bennett is doing her best to meet the needs of women in trouble. She started Journey Against Domestic and Sexual Abuse in 2002 to help those in abusive situations and their families. The organization relies on fundraising and money from the federal government.
And that's where we are struggling with right now to get what was promised to us, which we were expecting to utilize to assist women.
Bennett's referring to this letter signed by St. Louis County Executive Sam Page saying they would be receiving $25,000 in Federal American Rescue Plan Act funds in September. But in December, they received another letter saying the funds had been frozen due to cuts to the county's budget, totaling around $15 million, without any increase in revenues for the continued operation of essential county services. It reads, quote, as a result of these cuts, we are placing ARPA-funded projects with the exception of public safety on hold until we determine we have appropriate staff to administer these projects in compliance with Treasury guidelines.
And of course, we have a lot of the council members who are backing the organization that was supposed to receive that money. They're asking the same questions. What's the holdup?
Bennett wants those in power to know the people on the receiving end of her work are essential, too.
We need them to put a bigger premium on dealing with humanistic issues.
Travis Cummings, 5 on your side.
More than $1 million were supposed to reach 5 different organizations. Today we reached out to the county executive's office for comment. We'll let you know when we hear back. An early celebration of a civil rights icon. How Missouri is kicking off the MLK holiday. It's been 3 years since the riot at the U.S. Capitol. How President Biden is reflecting on the day democracy was threatened.
We're tracking the position of this low, and it's one of many, not only Tuesday into Wednesday, when that cold air switches our rain to snow, and why it's just one of a few times of the next 14 days that we'll see cold air and snow chances.
The state of Missouri kicking off Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebrations a week early. Today, Harris-Stowe State University hosted a statewide program which featured gospel music and remarks from local leaders and dignitaries. Several people working to make a difference in the state were awarded for their service. Speakers reflected on the strength of civil rights leaders to get us to where we are today.
We should be just as strong because they were strong for us today. They were strong for us today so that we could go where we want to go and do what we want to do and say what we want to say. And we have a lot to say.
This year's theme is Keeping the Dream Alive. It starts with me. A series of MLK events will happen next weekend. Well, tonight, the Feast of the Epiphany. It's also known as the 12th night of Christmas, and it kicks off the Mardi Gras season in Soulard. Mardi Gras has been an official St. Louis tradition since 1980.
It's 44 years, and I am here to officially declare with a proclamation of Mardi Gras season in the city of St. Louis. So it's official, laissez-les, bon temps brûlés.
Mardi Gras season will last a little over a month. It ends on Fat Tuesday, which is February 13th.
And we are looking at snow in the Pacific Northwest. It's all part of the system that's on its way early this week. What that means for us, and a look ahead at some of the impacts will be felt.
Today marks 3 years since the January 6th Capitol attack. Tens of thousands of Donald Trump supporters rallied in Washington as the former president delivered a speech. Mr. Trump urged his supporters to march to the Capitol to stop lawmakers from certifying the 2020 election results, which he lost to President Joe Biden. 5 people died in the riot. 140 police officers were hurt. President Biden spoke about the riot, saying those who attacked the Capitol abandoned truth and democracy.
Because of you, the will of the people prevailed, not the anger of the mob or the appetites of one man. When the attack on January 6th happened, there was no doubt about the truth.
More than 1,200 people were arrested that day, charged with misdemeanors and felonies, ranging from trespassing to seditious conspiracy. That includes 10 people from the St. Louis area. Well, tonight, the FAA ordered an immediate grounding of Boeing 737-9 MAX jetliners after a panel blew out of an Alaska Airlines plane, leaving a gaping hole in the side of the fuselage. The agency says the required inspections take around 4 to 8 hours per aircraft and will affect about 170 aircraft worldwide. Boeing says it will help in the investigation. A spokesperson for St. Louis Lambert Airport says the groundings will likely only cause a few delays. Well, cold weather is settling in across the country, and that means there's going to be a risk of frozen pipes. Some say you can keep the water flowing by letting your faucets drip. Brandon Lewis from our National Verify team looks into it.
A running faucet is usually a wasteful sign, but with freezing and sometimes sub-zero temperatures expected for parts of the country this winter, some people say a dripping faucet may actually be a good thing to prevent pipes from freezing. So let's verify.
Can letting your faucets drip prevent pipes from bursting in cold weather?
Our sources are the American Red Cross, Mississippi State University, the Building Research Council at the University of Illinois, and Austin Water. When water freezes, it expands, so stagnant water in a pipe during freezing temperatures, typically when it's 20 degrees or colder, could cause enough pressure to make the pipe burst. Our sources say you can prevent this from happening by keeping the water flowing, even if it's just a drip, because moving water is harder to freeze. It doesn't even need to be a lot of water. Just a slow trickle is enough to do the trick. Our sources recommend opening the faucet that's furthest from your meter because this will help keep the water flowing throughout your home.
So, yes, letting your faucets drip can prevent pipes from bursting in cold weather.
You can also add insulation to your pipes or turn off your water and then drain your system so there's no water left in the pipes that could freeze. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
If there's something you'd like us to verify, just email us at verify@ksdk.com. Time now for your Weather First forecast. Here's meteorologist Gary Frank.
Yeah, good evening, Brent. A nice day overall. As we started to see most of that melt, you could hear the gutters, everything outside, but it was a beautiful way to wake up this morning. You don't have to wake up that way tomorrow, although there are a few light snow showers that we'll continue to monitor, especially crossing the river near Herman, Augusta. They've just moved through, and you're going to run into a couple of these little bursts of light snow flurries. They're moving into Augusta right now, crossing the river into Wildwood and almost into St. Albans. You'll see most of that here coming pretty close. This is falling apart. It's all good right now. As temps are above freezing again. That's where they were yesterday, but we had rapid snowfall rates that overcame that, even at 33 in Wildwood, where we're seeing some of that snow move through. Otherwise, it's relatively quiet. We're starting to see some fog, especially in Rolla, and some of these visibilities are starting to come down from the normal 10. I expect that fog will thicken up into the overnight hours, but you'll notice some of our visibility may get under a quarter of a mile, so keep that in mind if you're traveling tonight. You'll start to see that. We have all that moisture at the surface. As most of us are going to stay around freezing, I think it's very brief, so I don't know that that's going to cause any issues, but just keep that in mind. A few rain and snow showers. Here's the system in the Pacific as it's starting to take shape and work its way in, but we also have this winter weather, this winter storm watch, and it's in place of this system that's on the way toward us. We're not involved in anything yet, but I think we will be in some fashion. We're still kind of timing out where this is going to move, but as some of the model data is starting to come together and give us an idea of where this system is going to move, that's going to really give us an idea. Couple of things I think that are changing over the last 48 hours is I think there's some colder air. So let's talk about the timeline. I think Monday night, this is going to be a lot like what we had last night. Temps are still above freezing. The ground temps are above freezing, but we may start to see a couple of those snowfall rates pick up where maybe accumulate in the grass quickly. But then I think by Tuesday morning, we have dry air settling in, temps remaining above freezing, and then we're going to start to transition this to snow. That's where we're going to start to see that here, and I think that's late Tuesday into Wednesday. That's where I think, but you may run it through most of Tuesday with some dry air, a few flakes, and not much. We have some recovery time, so I want to show you what this may look like. As rain and snow are going to impact us, it will change to all snow late Tuesday, and gusts of 40 miles an hour are very possible. So let's look at some of the timeline here, because Monday night, it's rain, snow mix. Temps are above freezing. We're in pretty good shape. As you wake up on Tuesday, a few showers, but some drier air settling in. I think that gives us a nice break. By Tuesday evening, I think the rain changes to snow with temps below freezing. It's windy and all snow by midnight, and that's where I think it could get slick. Higher snow totals look off to the northwest. We're still fine-tuning this here, and we'll have that information tomorrow. But into the city, I think the changeover is maybe a little sooner than areas to the south. I think it stays warmer a bit longer, so maybe not as much snow. It's going to be a fine line, and temperatures on Tuesday are in the upper 30s, falling to 28 overnight. It's that 28 that I think is a little colder than looked like yesterday. And you want to speak about a little colder. We were talking about layers. It's going to be a lot different next week. I think we're going to struggle to get 20.
Oh, my
holiday.
goodness.
We've got another opportunity for snow next weekend.
Yep, different indeed. All right. Thank you, Gary.
Yep.
We've got Corey standing by with sports.
Well, the Blues have not been intimidated by some of the best teams in hockey lately, and they had quite the thrilling finish tonight down in Carolina. We've got a finale you have to see coming up next in sports.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire.
It's fair to say the Blues are in perhaps the toughest part of their schedule this season. Their first 5 games in the calendar year of 2024 are against teams in either first or second place in their respective divisions. But this team has shown some spunk lately, and they certainly brought it tonight in Carolina. Drew Bannister and the Blues facing former Blue Rod the Bod Brindamore and his Hurricanes tonight. First period, fantastic pass from Oscar Sundqvist to Nathan Walker, streaking up the ice, and Walker snipes his first goal of the season. Blues up 1-0. A couple minutes later, Teuvo Teravainen is going to tie things up 1-1. Jordan Binnington was a wall after that. Look at some of these saves. He had 29 tonight. This game went all the way to a shootout. Jake Neighbors has to score to keep the Blues alive. He does. Next round, Jordan Binnington. Can he get one more save in a masterful performance? He can. That sets the stage for the captain, Braden Shen. He beats Antti Ratna, gives the Blues a 2-1 victory. What a win for the Note down in Raleigh. Here's something Mizzou and SLU basketball fans can agree on. Neither of their team seasons have gone as hoped so far. But with conference play comes new life. Both teams were in action today. Mizzou kicked off conference play against Georgia in front of a packed house in Columbia. Aiden Shaw provided the highlights for the Tigers today. Look at some of these dunks. He had 14 points, 6 rebounds. Mizzou was down by 17 at one point. They battled back to make it a game, but Georgia got hot down the stretch. Bulldogs spoiled the conference opener with a 75-68 win.
I just think the big picture is you gain experience by opportunity, and you get a new lens of what's going on. And you can apply that to practice. These games are going to come quick, and you just have to be able to debrief, learn, and continue to grow.
SLU on the road facing a tough George Mason squad in their second A-10 game of the season. Nice day for Gibson Jimerson. He had a team-high 20 points for the Billikens. George Mason had some big runs, though. This three capped a 9-0 stretch in the second half. SLU tried to get it back. Larry Hughes had 12 off the bench, but George Mason finished things off with a 79-67 win. Bills are now 7-8 on the season. Let's go over to Highland for one of the best high school shootouts in the country. Host Bulldogs facing Bree Central. Highland was up 9 going into the fourth quarter. Nick Helmick hits the layup for Central, and we are flipped. We're tied with just a minute left. And to break the tie, Mason Schubert and one. Highland's last chance effort. Got to come up a little bit short, and Central storms back to win the game 34-31. Next up, Cardinal Ritter taking on Illinois powerhouse Quincy this morning. Nice move from Clayton Jackson for the Lions. Step back, that's good. Great little floater from Donovan Meads. That connects for 2 more for Cardinal Ritter. But Quincy is one of the best teams in the state of Illinois for a reason. They hold strong all game long and win 62-49. The NFL draft announcements keep coming for Mizzou football, and this guy absolutely has got to be on an NFL roster next season. Kicker Harrison Mevis had 1 more year of eligibility if he wanted it, but he's headed to the next level. Mevis is Mizzou's all-time scoring leader with 405 points. He also has the longest field goal in the history of the SEC with his 61-yarder to walk off Kansas State earlier this year. That'll do it for sports.
All right, Corey, thanks. That's all of our time, unfortunately, but we appreciate the company. We've got Saturday Night Live coming up now.